Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or my list and sideboard guides before tournaments, check out Patreon or the YouTube membership program. This channel is made possible by these amazing sponsors. Check out all their links in the video description below. Once again, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing some Legacy, and this video is sponsored by Nerds Cafe, a WPN premier store in Woodstock, Ontario. So if you're up in the Toronto area, Buffalo, Detroit, that general part of the world, they're running a pretty cool tournament series. Stay tuned for the details on that, or check out the link in the video description. But Nerds Cafe gave me a dealer's choice to play whatever I'd like to play. And what I want to play is big grindy control decks. But the Patreon's all over that. I got a ton of those coming out. Don't worry about it. So I decided to do the opposite thing and play something that nobody asked me to, because we all know better. I'm going to be the bad guy today and just play Turbo Black-Red Reanimator. This list is a recent 4-0 and a prelim from none other than Canister, who is known to not actually enjoy Legacy, but win every tournament he enters. He usually plays like the showcases and important MTGO stuff that qualifies for bigger events. He always plays Reanimator because he wants to spend as little time playing Legacy as possible. And while obviously I love Legacy and don't agree with that assessment, I respect it. And he usually has great lists. This one is doing all the normal stuff you'd expect in the main deck. 4 Lotus Petal, 4 Dark Ritual. We're going as fast as possible. 2 Unmask and 4 Grief. So we got 6 free pitch spells for discard. 4 Thoughtseize to poke through their hand. And then just Entombs, Reanimates, and Faithless Lootings. The monster spread, pretty clean as well. We're not goofing around with any Sarah's Emissaries or weird fringe stuff like that. There are 4 Archon of Cruelty, the one that doesn't die to Caracas. 3 Griselbrand, the one that is generally determined to be the best. 1 Atraxa for the juke. Sometimes Griselbrand doesn't do what you need it to. Atraxa gives you the cards up front, but you only get them once. Griselbrand, you get lots of cards if you already have life, but if your life total's low, you're in trouble. So just a little bit of diversity there. Also a little padding against surgical extraction. The goal is to put one of these jerks into play on turn 1 while disrupting your opponent, and then win the game on turn 2. Pretty simple stuff. I really like the sideboard from this list. We all know I love juke. Whether you're a control deck that jukes into combo, a combo deck that jukes into mid-range, or whatever, I love a sideboard juke, and this one is heavy. We've been seeing Dauthi Voidwalker in Reanimator decks lately, because people tend to board out their prismatic endings and their lightning bolts and that sort of thing, and then you just kill them with an unblockable 3-2. But this one goes even further. There's 3 Shoulder of the Apocalypse in here, and 4 Magus of the Moon. Normally Reanimator sideboards are full of like Serenity effects or Reverent Silence or ways to clear graveyard hate. This one is just ignoring it. You could literally board in 11 creatures and a removal spell and cut most of the reanimation package and just become basically modern Scam, which is a perfectly viable deck, especially if your opponent has boarded out all of their creature removal. I'm pretty excited about this flip. There's still the couple of Serenities if that's appropriate for the matchup. I'm not going to lie, hope I identify it in the moment, but I'm not even sure when you would try to fight through graveyard hate versus just do the juke. Serenity is pretty obvious in cases of like 8-cast, Painter, that sort of thing. Maybe Red Prison, Sphere decks basically. But I don't know when I would bring in Serenity to answer Leyline of the Void and Rest in Peace compared to just bring in 11 creatures and bash. So we'll feel that out as we go. Hopefully, though, we'll just be having a lot of really short games in this league and win them all. This is Reanimator for Nerds Cafe. Let's do it. This video is sponsored by Nerds Cafe, a WPN premium store in Woodstock, Ontario, who would like to invite you to their premier tournament series that includes many of Magic's most popular formats. The series culminates in 2 year-end invitational cash events for Modern and Commander. Learn more about the series and get 10% off singles using code BoshNRoll10 at nerdscafe.com. I'm on the draw in round number 1. against Mega Nerd. I wonder if they know about Nerd's Cafe. I have a turn 1 Archon of Cruelty. Draw step plus Faithless Looting could give me a piece of disruption as well. I'm going to keep a hand that makes a turn 1 Archon. I wish it had protection, but this is where I am. There's a Saga. Okay. Don't chalice me, bro. Please play Emery. Please play Emery. God damn. Okay. Hard mode activated. Looks like some 8 cast. So they just saw Exhume off this bauble. I need to draw... I mean, Unmask doesn't even help because... Yeah, how do I even... this chalice in game 1? Let's see what I got here. I can unmask myself now that I have a second black card. Yeah, I have to unmask myself. Thoughtseize doesn't work. There's no way to remove this thing in the main. I can start hardcasting Grief at some point. Opponent said in the chat, they're a huge fan. I got them into Legacy. It doesn't feel like it right now, opponent. That is obviously a joke, and I appreciate them. Okay, so we turn 1 Chalice into Accelerated Urza Saga through Ancient Tomb. I can't concede yet because I don't know what they're doing. Like, I could see they're a Chalice Stompy deck, but what flavor? I'll fetch in response here, get Badlands. They saw Exhume off of Urza's Bauble, so I'm not hiding anything here. There are no secrets. Soul Guide Lantern. Okay. I still don't know if they're 8 cast. Okay. Blue. Podcast, cool. Alright, dead to turn 1 Chalice on the draw. Good stuff. The Serenities are coming in, for sure. And how hard do I want to juke on 8 cast? Because this is a deck with Force of Will, Force of Negation, and Chalice of the Void, and main deck Soul Guide Lantern, plus whatever else they bring in. I could try to dumpster on the play, but they're also a Force deck, as I said. My goodness. This matchup feels bad. Do I want to go all the way in on the 11-card sideboard? Or 14-card sideboard, because the Serenities are coming in as well. Everything except Fairy Macabre has an argument here. I think on the play, I want to try to do the Reanimator dumpster thing, and then on the draw for game 3, I might chill out a little bit. Maybe the Shouldreds are worth it, because that's a mid-range thing I can put into play. Reasonably cast. Thoughtseize, Reanimate, and Tomb, Dark Ritual. No, I think on the play, if I'm going to try to dumpster, then I don't bring in Shouldred. I can pivot to the other thing in game 3. I think I need my discard spells. Need my payoffs. I like my things that don't cost 1. I'm looking at either Reanimate or Dark Ritual as potential cuts. And both of those slow me down. But they're the things that are softest to Chalice, which is the thing I'm most worried about. I can work my way through Forces, but Chalice will just be a game ender, like we saw that time. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it like this. I can unmask them, but I don't have the other piece. I could unmask them pitching Griselbrand. I could entomb a monster, but then I don't have any. Like, I'm drawing to, I guess, how many outs? I frequently see reanimated players keep hands like this, but do they keep them on 7? Is this like a plan for a 6-card hand? There's 3, 7, 11 payoffs. That doesn't seem like enough. I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, rewarded with the Stone Nuts. I can unmask them and then Dark Ritual, Entomb, Reanimate. I'm gonna keep and put Badlands on the bottom. I guess I pitch Atraxa here. That is a requirement. Unmask target you. Pitch Atraxa. What are we working with? Chalice of the Void, Force of Will with no blue card. Okay, I don't care about Chalice. Silent Gravestone. There is more. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take the Force and then just beat the Chalice. Badlands. I don't want to show them that I have white if I don't have to. Okay, it's probably Griselbrand. Animate the Grizzle in there and load up, see if I can take more cards from them. If I go to 5, what's the punish? Alright, I'm gonna go to 5. I would really like to take their Chalice if I can. But I did not find a Lotus Petal or a Pitch Spell. Alright, I guess this is gonna have to win the game. A Lotus Petal gives me multiple more monsters this turn. Archon, 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 Griselbrand, Reanimate, Reanimate, Zoom. Okay, this is now my hand. And they can't turn 1. They can because they have C. Yeah, they can Chalice here. If they think that's even good enough anymore. Okay, Chalice is in there. I did miss on land for 14 cards. Land and Lotus Petal. I get another 7 this turn. There's a Serenity, which they saw off the bauble. That's disappointing. Now they know about it for the next game. Can I go another 7 cards? Missing on everything. Found a land. Swamp. Lotus Petal. Can't Dark Ritual. I can Exhume. They don't have a creature in their graveyard. That's better than Animate right now. Cool. Alright. Went with the dumpstering. We confirmed additional graveyard hate on top of the Chalices, Forces, etc. Doing a juke here. This is 12 cards to cut. There are way more than 12 cards in the reanimation package, it turns out. If I bring Dark Ritual back in, okay, so I guess I would be leaving some light reanimation options in. It's not a full juke here. It's just some different stuff. I still like Thoughtseize and Faithless Looting. They fit the mid-range plan. If I leave in Archon, Griselbrand, Atraxa, Zoom is tricky because they have Emery that can mill over stuff like Thought Monitor that they get back with Exhume, and then their engine's online. Also, maybe I don't want the Magus of the Moon. It turns off Chalice of the Void. Or not Chalice of the Void, Urza Saga. Literally just a different card. But if I don't do that, I get to keep my Entombs and a higher density of monsters, banger monsters. Okay, I think I'm gonna... Oh, there's still too many cards in this deck. Uh-oh. 2 card special is not where you go with the Reanimator. Okay. Archon is out, and one of the Entombs is out. Yeah, I mean, this feels kind of weird, but I think it's where we go against this Nightmare matchup. And here's an opening hand with no mana. Come on. There's not that few lands in the deck. There are 14 lanes for Lotus Petals. My opponent took the first mulligan with me. Let's hope they take the second as well. Mulligan. Okay. Keep the heck out of this hand. It's a turn 1 Serenity. Or turn 1 Childred. If they have turn 1 Chalice, then I don't want Dark Ritual Thoughtseize. If they do have turn 1 Chalice, those are exactly the cards I want. But I can Serenity them if they have turn 1 Chalice. But then what are my payoffs? God, this would have been such a great 7. Childred is a big O. But I can't Childred if I Serenity, so probably Childred is a bottom. And Dark Ritual? Definitely Childred. And this is tough. Don't want to send this Serenity. Basically, we're just looking at and hoping, do they have Chalice or not? If they don't have Chalice, I bottom Serenity. If they do have Chalice, I'm going to hate my life for not bottoming Serenity. I guess if they don't have Chalice, then I could Thoughtseize them on the slow, and then Voidwalker on the next turn, and I don't need Dark Ritual. Okay. Talk myself into it. Otawara. Not an artifact, unfortunately. They do have Chalice. They have Force of Will to back it up. And do I care? I could just play Dauthi Voidwalker here, and my next land gives me Serenity after I've pressured the board a bit. I think if I resolve one spell this game, like if they force my opening play, I'd rather have Dauthi Voidwalker in my graveyard where I can animate it, and then Serenity them later when they have more stuff. This also makes Emry worse. Saga. Okay, deck. I just need a land here. That's all I'm asking for. Heck yeah. Emry's throwing stuff into the void that I can cast. I could play Thought Monitor this turn. That's pretty cool. The land, so that's not even excited about that now. Or it didn't draw the land. Can't Thoughtseize you. I can play Thought Monitor. That will die to the Serenity if I think that's where I'm going. I could play Saga and Exhume and get my Voidwalker back right away. That's actually pretty cool. Saga does not play well with Serenity. And I don't have, or I do have Lotus Petals in my deck. Okay. There is something resembling a plan here. Okay, I am going to play Saga out of the void. Play that. And Exhume my homie back immediately. Cool. This is fun. Casting their Lotus Petal out of the graveyard. Another Saga. Come on, Serenity, bring me home. Please don't have Force Blue card as your last 2 cards in hand over there. Grief. Okay, I can Grief you first, and then Serenity, and know it's good. So, Thoughtseize. And if you have something super cracked, it ends up in the void. Did have Force. Nice. Otawara is kind of a beating. Can use it. And it can bounce Serenity. And Force and Negation doesn't stop that from happening. Okay, I'll just start my attacking. Bang. If this Serenity pops, which I don't think it is, because I think they have to Otawara this thing. But if it pops, I don't get to search for Lotus Petal, because that happens before. Serenity's my upkeep. Saga's my main phase. Yeah, they're not able to make constructs this turn because they have to Otawara the Serenity. Haywire Might, no! That's way better. Shit. Alright, well, they found a better way around it. I do get to tutor Lotus Petal. Otawara is their 1 card in hand. They can bounce their Urza Saga that I control and put it back in their hand. That also disincentivizes me from playing their Thought Monitor from exile. Vote a colorless, a Lotus Petal, and animate dead on my Grief doesn't matter. I could play the Thought Monitor, draw 2 cards, and then animate dead my Voidwalker again. This Otawara is going to be a pain in the ass no matter what. Yeah, I'll cast the Thought Monitor. Tomb Atraxa. This Chalice is regrettably still in play. I could snuff out their Emry and animate dead that and mill myself for 4. But then my animate dead's gone and Chalice is still in play and I'm still losing constructs and they're holding Otawara and they can tutor either Spell Bomb. All of that's bad. I'll animate Voidwalker again. Chalice of the Void. What a beast. But if I snuff out Emry, it could mess up their Otawara math. They are running out of life points here. Or not life points, mana. They have plenty of life points. That's a thing they're quite well set on. Box Opal. I think I have to snuff one of these constructs and start getting the board stable. No, it's not really stable, but at least save myself some life. Taking 5 if I don't block, or don't kill it, and 4 if I do. I can play Thought Monitor again next turn if I think that's the way to go. Oh, we can just keep treading water on this Voidwalker. Guess that's what's happening. Thought Monitor. I can't play the Haywire Might and get rid of the Chalice because it's a 1-drop and Chalice stops it. Those are just the rules. I'm close to hard casting this Grief. And I can't take Otawara anyway. Just continue putting Dauthi Voidwalker into play. This gives me at least one more turn of spinning my wheels with Thought Monitor. They can't currently auto aura. Now they can. Bummer. Yep, there's that. No surprise there. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They can't replay it yet. But I am just taking 9 in combat. Yep. I was one turn behind that turn that I couldn't... Or the turn that Serenity was answered by Haywire Might was the turn where this game came off the rails. I mean, I can grief their Thought Monitor and replay it again. All of that's free. Does not move my game plan forward. I'll pitch Entomb. Force pitching Thought Monitor. Force. Yep, pitching Thought Monitor. Great. I could force their force, but then my Voidwalker is still gone. And that doesn't help me. I could play Lotus Petal with Voidwalker, cast Grief. Also doesn't help me. Can't channel Auto Aura. Okay. We have fallen to the Force of Will backup deck that led on Chalice all 3 games. And 2 of them they were on the play. So, up beats in round 1. Let's keep going. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting Commander events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 4-player Swiss-structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no downloads required. You can get access for just $5 at eminence.events/subscribe. I'm on the draw for round 2. I have nothing. 3 animate spells, some temporary mana, no disruption, and no way to put a thing in the graveyard. Mulligan. Okay. This hand can unmask myself, put Reanimate on the stack, and the following turn put Exhume on the stack. So this is 2 shots at Griselbrand. Oh, but I have to bottom a card. God, mulliganing sucks. If I keep this, I could put one of the Griselbrands to the bottom and just hope to draw any black card. Alright. I'm going to keep and do the thing that I said. No covered forest. Abundant growth. Oh, you did reveal a Yorion. I didn't notice. Okay. We are a Yorion blue soup deck. This lets me... Alright, I mean, I have to pitch the Exhume now, which really sucks. And I mulliganed to 6, so I can't even go to discard. Alright, unmask myself. Pitching Exhume. Discard Griselbrand. Reanimate. I'll play Lotus Petal. They are not a Daze deck and don't control an island, but just for good measure. We're in there. Sometimes you just hit. I'm going to 5. Can we get another? I can Faithless Looting here. I can Entomb Exhume. I mean, I'm definitely going to grief them. What are you working with? Flusterstorm. Oops. Ice Fang, Coatl, Prismatic Ending. I'm going to take Coatl from this hand. Prismatic Ending can hit this Animate Dead, but I'm not really worried about it. I guess if I Animate Dead, if I take Prismatic Ending and then cast Exhume, I get Grief back and take their Coatl as well, and then we're just rocking out. Alright, I am going to take Prismatic Ending. And I'm taking Ending first, because if I take Coatl first, then they get it back when I Exhume. Wish I could have gone a little deeper there, but this is a good start. Okay. Their hand is Flusterstorm and some lands. Pass the turn. Windswept, cracking a fetch. Uh-oh. Do something relevant? We drew a redraw. Swords of Plowshares is the only card that matters here. Archon of Cruelty. Okay. Let's see if Griselbrand's going to get another zap here. Opponent's at 9. I know they have Flusterstorm. I am going to get another Griselbrand zap here. Thoughtseize puts me to 3. Fetch puts me to 2. But Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Entomb, Animate Dead is a GG. So Thoughtseize you. There are fetchable lands left in my deck. It's close. I'm almost out. They'll just Flusterstorm and some lands. I'm at 2. I'll get an Archon here. Dark Ritual, Yeah, Archon gains me some life. There is 2 left in the deck. Animate dead, target Archon. Just the full dumpster party. They even get to go to clean up and discard another Archon. Feels good. Okay. Schmortered a blue deck. A chunky blue deck in game 1, as we do. I'm normally on the other side of that. Feels kind of good, even though I've betrayed everything I believe in to be here. They have Ice Fang Coatls and stuff. There's going to be some juke, but I'm not going all the way in. This is a deck that dumpstering will basically always work against. I think I'm just going to do the Voidwalkers, because they're also an Uro deck, and Prismatic Ending is the type of card they're going to cut. And Ice Fang Coatl can stabilize the board against something like Sheoldred. They play a lot of basics and the Abundant Growth package, so I don't even know if Magus is the right call. Okay, cut Griselbrand and Archon. Exhume. This is the opposite of the Chalice deck. Against the Chalice deck, I was cutting 1s in case they had Chalice. Now I'm cutting the chunkier stuff because efficiency is important. I cut Animate Dead. Animate Dead opens up Force of Vigor and like random Zenith bullets like Night of Autumn as outs to my creatures, but Exhume, they are a deck full of creatures. I'll split the difference, I guess. Do I want 1 Magus of the Moon in the deck to Entomb Reanimate if they happen to be greedy? I don't think so. I feel like that's a thing you go all the way in on if you're doing it. Okay, I can Grief and Faithless Looting. I will do this. What are we doing with 1? Is it Abundant Growth? Basic Forest sure looks like it. Okay. Come on, Reanimate spell off the top. Or does that even help? I don't think that even helps here, actually. Okay, Grief pitching 1 of the Archons. Or do I need Dark Ritual at this point? I have 2 lands. I guess I'm going to Grief pitching Dark Ritual. I would rather discard 2 Archons to Faithless Looting. What do you got? Please don't be horrible. Plow, Force, Brainstorm, Intuition. Okay. I'm most worried about Force of Will here. I mean, the Plow does help stabilize, but I can get value in between. Brainstorm is annoying. This Intuition is hopefully miles away from being useful. Faithless Looting, please find me a Reanimate spell. Or 2. Okay, I get to Reanimate twice next turn. Let's go. Okay, don't draw a Force or a Graveyard Hate right now, please. There's Snow-Covered Plains. We did know about that. Okay, Reanimate the Archon. Reanimating the Grief first could clear the Plow, but I have 2 Archons, and that's just the plan here. Okay, Emergency Brainstorm. Please don't find real Graveyard Hate. Surgical's annoying because I have 2 of the same monster. Endurance sweeps up my whole graveyard. Force of Will will cost them 2 cards, and they can plow the other Archon, but at least we're still playing. Hopefully they just miss. Moment of Truth. Okay, Archon's in. We get a trigger. Plowing in response, that's fine. Plow's gone. Discarding Uro, that's a pretty good one. Reanimate the other Archon. And zap you again. Discarded the Bayou. They're not hurting for lands. Okay, Moment of Truth. How good was that Brainstorm? They can Intuition now. Just going to go to combat first. That makes their hand worse and my hand better if it happens. Press down. Okay. Sure. We'll just be taking 6. Without all the other stuff. In for 6. And Faithless Looting is incredible here. Unmask Voidwalker, discard Archon Griselbrand. And luckily, Unmask is Unmask and not Grief. I'm going to pitch the Entomb. My graveyard is already tasty. Grist the Hunger Tide and Intuition. Probably Grist. I don't think I care about Intuition. At least not on the timetable that they can present it. And they have Basic Plains as one of their lands, so even a land off the top doesn't Uro here. Ponder gets to dig for a Plow. Show me a shuffle. Let's get out of here. Goes to shuffle. 1 mystery card. And we did it. Okay. Absolutely obliterating a ponderous, chunky, deep late game blue deck, as we do. We frequently see the other side of this matchup on this channel. Feels good, man. Let's go. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the draw in round 3 with what appears to be a control hand. I can discard 3 cards from my opponent's hand and then put a monster in my graveyard. Do I try to buy this much time? Wasteland is devastating. I'm going to mulligan. This hand does very little. I'm going to mulligan this one as well. I mean, if I draw a black card, I can Grief and then animate Grief. They're on a mull to 6. That could slow them down for a while. I'm going to go to 5. Okay, if I keep this, what does it do? I can Grief them on turn 1, and then hardcast Grief on turn 2. I guess I have to bottom Dark Ritual with this hand. I am going to stop here. I don't think 4 is getting better. So, actually Ritual's a good pitch to Grief, because I don't want it. So if I put Animate Dead and the second Grief on the bottom, so if I keep Animate Dead, if I put a big scary monster into their graveyard, I can animate it, and if I Exhume, they get it. So I'll put Exhume and Ritual to the bottom. Nope, I wanted Ritual. It's Grief and Exhume to the bottom. Opponent had Delver, Bobble Me, Seed, Bloodstained Mire. I'm actually going to pass now that I know they're on Delver. I can do the Grief Animate Dead thing all at once next turn and see more cards in their hand without any real exposure to any additional problems. Plus I get to see an extra draw step. Delver flip revealing Brainstorm. Okay, possible new plan here. If I just Dark Ritual and cast Grief, if they counter it, I can animate it and Exhume it over the subsequent turns. That doesn't give me 2 Griefs this turn, but it gives me maybe 3 over the next several. I'm gonna fetch Swamps here. This does play into Daze, which is mostly fine. Refute on the hardcast is, yep, we knew that was a possibility. And Brainstorm with the floating blue from Daze. And they fetch their Steam Vents tapped. Ponder. Do not shuffle. And there's the Volcanic Island they picked up last turn. Love to find an Entomb. That's probably my best card. Zoom brings back Grief at full strength, and they currently don't have any creatures in their graveyard. Later round Daze here. What are you cooking with? Minor Misstep, Brainstorm, Lightning Bolt. Minor Misstep beats Entomb, which I don't like. Lightning Bolt can kill Grief, which I don't mind. I'm going to take Brainstorm, though. And they'll probably save the Lightning Bolt from my face. Killing Grief just turns on Reanimate spells for no reason. Oh, good. Another 3-power creature. And now I'm just dead on board. And there's nothing I can do about it. Cool. Alright. The mull to 5 control hand didn't work out. Playing against Delver. It seems that Surgical Extraction and Force of Negation are the types of things Delver players are doing right now. Just checking some popular lists in addition to, I mean, we saw Minor Misstep in the main, so counter spells are what's happening. I like Snuff out here. The Shouldered mid game is exciting, and they are a graveyard deck. Is this an 8-card quasi-juke? Atraxa gets Pyroblasted. I'm not really interested in that, though this is the type of matchup where Atraxa would be good. They're not going to bring in Pyroblast. Come on. Alright. Down a Griselbrand. Dark Ritual's good. This Exhume is a little risky. Maybe I don't bring in the Voidwalkers, because they're going to have Lightning Bolt anyway. That's really good against control decks that board out their removal because it doesn't do anything else. But Bolt can go over the top in a race situation, or if I get greedy with Griselbrand, but Childred is still a banger. I do want to go fast with Reanimate, but I also want to make sure their hand is clear. I'm kind of looking at Unmask, because it's a 2-for-1, but if on turn 1, that is exactly what I want in exchange for winning the game. But in the mid game, that's kind of a liability. Maybe it's Thoughtseize, or do I need to slow down and kind of go 1-for-1 with them? I've panicked and cut a Reanimate because I was running out of time to sideboard. That one hurts my life total. Okay, so here I can... What can I do with this hand? I can Grief them. I can Thoughtseize them and Grief them if I need to. And then I have Entomb Animate Dead over coming turns. The Faithless Looting is exciting, but they're a Wasteland deck. I think this hand's good enough to keep. I think I Basic Swamp Thoughtseize, but if I Grief first, I'll know if they have Wasteland or not, which completely changes everything. Because if I Faithless Looting, I'm in good shape. If I Faithless Looting, I don't need Entomb. If I Entomb, I might not need Faithless Looting. I think I'm pitching Entomb here. I'm gonna give their hand a check. Hope I don't see Wasteland, and then there's no Wasteland. There is Surgical Extraction. Bauble Ponder. All right, I'll take the Surgical, much as I'd like to take Ponder. And then I'm going to Faithless Looting and hope I find a second mana source. Not a second mana source, but I am discarding Archon and Entomb. And then I can pass. If there's a mana source, I can pitch Thoughtseize to Grief and get Archon into play. If there's not a mana source, I can Thoughtseize them. Mishra's Bauble. Probably going to be a self-target. Yep, self-target. It just lets you see. Oh, come the fuck on. That was your draw for the turn. I'm losing my damn mind. Okay, yeah, that wasn't even a Ponder. That wasn't even anything. That was just the rip for the turn. I drew a land, which would have won the game last turn, but this turn did not win the game. I could Thoughtseize their Ponder now, or save Grief for their combo turn. I think I want to just cut off as many options as I can. Force of Will and Ponder. So Ponder could find different action, like Surgical, but Force of Will, any blue card, does what it needs to. I'm going to take the Force. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty solid. From checking your hand, nothing really going on, to Wasteland plus Force of Will in one turn cycle. All right, deck, you owe me a mana source off the top. Give it to me. Don't be a hater. They are using Ponder. Daze and Surgical are live hits here. If they drew a blue card, Force is also a live hit. Or if they drew Force, a blue card's a live hit. Okay, we're about to find out. Oh, wait. I can Grief first, pitching Animate, and just lock this Archon into play. This is the line. What do you got? I'll take your Dragon's Rage Channeler. No, I don't care about that at all. Do I? That plus Bolt? No, because an attack will kill it. Okay, I'll take your... I don't care about Force of Will, though, either. Right. I'm lucky that I don't care about any of the cards in the hand. Archon of Cruelty. Get into play. Cool. We managed to get through that. Opponent had the actual stone nuts after getting Thoughtseized, and we still worked through it. Reanimator's stupid. Okay, the efficiency of Reanimate, hard to argue with. Is 3 too many Childreds? Or is this exactly what I want to be doing? I think I want Reanimate back, and I'll cut 1 Childred. I'll try it like this. Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize. Honestly, if this was Basic Swamp, I'd probably keep it, but losing to Wasteland on top of every other card that they could ever have. But if I draw any Reanimate spell, I get to Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Entomb Reanimate. Alright, I'll keep this. Because the upside is really high here. I hope that they Ponder or pass the turn and not play Delver's Secrets. Alright, Delver's Secrets it is. Who got it? How about a Reanimate? Enough out. Okay. I don't hate that. Land, Lotus Petal, a Dark Ritual, and Thoughtseize at least once. Thoughtseize. Take your Ponder. Thoughtseize. Take your Force of Will. Entomb. Put an Archon in there. And snuff out your Delver. Your hand is Volk, Flooded Strand, Lightning Bolt, but I don't have a Reanimate spell yet. Flooded Strand. On deck. Help me out. Cool. I hope you did not draw exactly days. Cool. Do we win now? Discarded Volcanic Island. Might as well Thoughtseize. The getting's good. You might just bolt me in response, but if their last card is a spell, I'll take it. Like Murktide Regent. I guess it doesn't even matter. Brazen Borrower is the one thing they could draw, but they would have done that in response. Yeah, alright. Volcanic Island versus 6/6. Ponder Force. If they play Unholy Heat, that's a live out. Brazen Borrower does stabilize this. F6. Ponder. That was a good draw. Shuffle. Shuffle. Goes to shuffle. Preordain. Okay, now Brazen Borrower's off and it has to be Unholy Heat to work this turn. They top to card. Shit. That means I'm dead. Oh, okay. Brainstorm. They can hide a good card on top of their deck. Or just be Brainstorm locked and die. Alright, cool. Just punched through Delver. I'm glad I didn't juke all the way because the just blast through with discard spells plan worked out just fine in sideboard games. Good stuff. Next one. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the draw in round 4. I can Looting and Archon into my hand, and then Exhume Reanimate. So this beats 2 counter spells. They would need actual graveyard hate or to kill me first. And Looting could even find a discard spell in between. Looking like some Death Shadow. Or it's Doomsday that started on their Watery Grave. Preordain's interesting. That is sometimes in Death Shadow and sometimes in Doomsday, so, but more likely it's Death Shadow. Death Shadow does make fetching a non-basic kind of a liability. I think it's okay. I have enough. Discard this Archon and the other Faithless Looting. Yeah. Because I can Dark Ritual next turn and then Reanimate and Exhume. Just pummel onto the stack. Thoughtseizing me. I have 2 things, but that is a good Thoughtseize. They took my Reanimate. Could be indicating days, but guess what I have? This deck is bullshit. I'm gonna pitch the Entomb to grief my opponent. Yeah, okay, we're just good here. And the concession's really interesting because that hid their deck. Like, I didn't see a handful of Death Shadows or a hand with Doomsday or some hybrid thereof. So I don't really know what they're doing yet. I think I want my Voidwalkers here. Get low and pressure them. Doomsday and Death Shadow both kind of use their graveyard. Doomsday has some lines that go through the graveyard, and Death Shadow has Murktide Regent and Gurmag Angler. But I think, like last round, just gonna rock out with the minimal sideboard changes here and pummel my opponent with discard. I don't even necessarily need all 4 Voidwalkers. I can just bring in some as a juke and still have critical mass of monsters, animate spells, and 8 Leyline of the Void. I basically don't have a plan for here other than attack. This hand is close to being good. Really bad against Wasteland. I am going to keep it though. The high roll factor is high. Underground Sea, go. Nice. Okay, I can play around Wasteland or play around Stifle. No respect for Stifle. Thoughtseize you. See what's going on over there. Storm is what's going on over there. Force, Ponder. Okay, well, they're going to have Force anyway, so I'll take the Ponder and pass from there. Strand. Lotus Petal is cool. I can Faithless Looting and then Animate Dead and get these forces to work. Unless they force the looting, in which case, cool. Force pitching force. That actually rules, because I can still cast Faithless Looting. And I think I want to do that next turn and hide what I'm fully capable of. So if I hit Dark Ritual or Grief or something now, but yeah, I'll give myself another draw step. If I get Thought Seized and they take my looting, then that's the risk I run here. Watery Grave, Shock In. Okay. They have Polluted Delta, and one of the cards they hid from Brainstorm in their hand, +1 mystery card. Goes to shuffle. Here's the Delta. And are we getting Murktided? I'm actually fine with that because I have it beat on board. They would need Surgical in their hand. I guess Daze works here too. Daze doesn't work if I draw a mana source. Nothing works if I draw a discard spell. Faithless Looting. Through the mana source, discard. Play 2 Archons. They have to have Surgical now because they have everything else covered. Badlands and Exhume. Right, Archon's in. They are Hellbent with no permanents, or no non-land permanents. Cool. Oh, I could do another one. Yeah, they are currently empty, so I'm just going to put another Archon into play. And Exhume is fine, because the other Archon will kill their Murktide. Yeah! Reanimator stuff. We have a final round coming. After a tough start, we are on a 3-0 run into the final round. Let's go. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I am on the play for the final round. Positive records locked, playing for the 4-1 bread and butter. This hand can grief my opponent, then cast Faithless Looting. I could even grief twice if I need to. I just need Faithless Looting plus draw step to produce a Reanimate spell. I think this one's there. And I think I pitch Entomb because looting can put Atraxa in the graveyard anyway. Verdant Catacombs, and let's take a look at you with pitching Entomb. What you got for me? Daze, Spell Pierce, and some other shit. Delver it is. I'm more worried about Daze or Spell Pierce. Daze is free. They start holding up Spell Pierce, they're not casting other spells. Daze can hit Grief. Spell Pierce can't. There's no Wasteland currently in this hand, but as we learned from our previous Delver opponent, it's guaranteed to be on top of the deck. I'm going to take the Spell Pierce, and I'll play my looting. Reanimate beats Daze if I find a 2-mana animate spell and a black card. That also beats Daze. I did find Exhume. I could just discard Grief and Lotus Petal ahead of Daze, and just hope they don't draw Force of Will right now. Yes, okay. That's how I'm going to do this. They have one draw step that has to be Force of Will here. Alright, they have Brainstorm in their hand. Yeah, they can Brainstorm for a second answer. Please cast Delver. They're thinking about it in their second main here, if they should get a threat into play or emergency Brainstorm. I hope they play a threat. Just let me beat Daze. They decided to leave up the Brainstorm. Dark Ritual would have been rewarded if I kept the Grief. I'll keep Dark Ritual in the mix and just go for Exhume here. I'll fetch a Badlands. I'm already exposed. Exhume. Okay, Brainstorm and miss. That's what I'm looking for right now. Brainstorm. And they missed. Cool. This deck, pretty good. Okay, last time against Delver, the graveyard, or the discard beat up their hand plan was pretty good. I did some Shouldreds last time too to operate in the mid-range a little bit. I don't know if that's right. Sometimes Delver does things like Grafdigger's Cage, but I don't see that in current lists online. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen now, but it's just a thing to be aware of. Zoom can get back one of their creatures. Animate Dead can be stifled. I want all my discard. I want my mana and Dark Ritual. They go down to 3 Archons, 2 Griselbrands. Just replace 2 big monsters with 2 Shouldreds in the middle. And then Snuff Out replaces 1 Animate Dead. I'm going to try this. Seeing Spell Pierce in their main deck means that they got some juice. Okay, this one has Grief. This is actually the same hand that I had last game, almost. Except now I'm on the draw, where everything is worse. And they kept 7. I am going to keep Ponder as the start, okay? I want to do the Grief before I do the Faithless Looting, because if they have a Surgical, I want to take it. Did not shuffle their library. That is a black card for Grief. I could try to draw Go for a little while here. That just makes their hand better. But if I wait till like turn 3 to Grief, Looting, Animate all at the same time, I think I am just going to land Go here. Just unlock Daze as a thing I have to care about. No land drop. Alright, you got 6 spells in your hand. A lot of those. If I find a Dark Ritual, I can go nuts. I still haven't found a card I'm very happy pitching to Grief. I could just Grief now, pitching Exhume. I could even animate the Grief if the coast is clear. But then I'd rather Exhume now. I am going to Grief now, pitching Animate Dead. Let's have a look. 2 Dazes, Force of Negation, Force of Will, Murktide Regent. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of juice. It's not Graveyard Hate, though. If I take the Force of Negation, I'm going to do that. And I just have to get myself up ahead of these Dazes. Faithless Looting. See if they knee-jerk Force of Will this. They did not. I don't need Scrubland in this matchup, and I want Atraxa in the graveyard. Atraxa and Scrubland are gone. Okay. Next turn, I can start exhuming and reanimating Reefs and check their hand. I just milled over a Delver, so Exhume brings back Delver now. Found a land. So they drew 3 cards, put 2 back, then drew 1 of them. So there's still Daze, probably Murktide and Force of Will in the mix here. That's another card for Grief. If I can make them Daze me. Grief pitching Exhume. Take the Force. I can demand a double Daze here or an emergency Brainstorm. I'm going to start with Exhume because that one's actually worse for me. I want Animate Dead to resolve, not Exhume. If they Brainstorm into Surgical, this one goes worse for me. Or a green Delver deck, okay. A fetch. Keep getting bad lands. 1 Daze down. They do get to see a ton of cards here. Oh wow, Pyroblast is still in their deck. I guess they're respecting the Show and Tell juke, or they're just cool taking out Atraxa sometimes. They can't pay for this one. They're gonna Brainstorm with their floating mana, almost certainly. They now have 2 lands in their hand that are easy to Brainstorm away. They surveilled every card they saw this turn with Dragon's Rage Channeler, which does mean they saw a lot of cards, but also means they didn't like any of them. Murktide Regent, Volcanic Island, Tropical Island, Mystery card is the hand. Probably just shuffled away 1 of the lands. And I'm trying to draw Thoughtseize right now. Exactly Thoughtseize. But I will put Animate Dead on this deck no matter what. This is not getting better for me. They did not shuffle. That's bad news. Thoughtseize off the top. Let's go. Oh my god. This is where they had Daze but not Force the whole time. Don't Surgical me in response. That would be annoying. Oh my god. All the authorities. This man is dangerous. Okay, I get an Atraxa here. They have Murktide Delver, which are pretty big things. I get this enchantment, this land, this creature, Shouldered Swamp, Animate Dead, and would I rather have Reanimate? Oh, Entomb is the instant, and then would I rather have Entomb, or Reanimate or Thoughtseize? Almost certainly Reanimate. Yeah. Gassed it right up there. And I could Reanimate Grief right now, take their Murktide Regent, and then just bet. Do they have something better for me to reanimate? Not. I'm going to reanimate my Grief and take your Murktide Regent. Go to 6, take your 8/8. Oh, yes! That was disgusting. Reanimator luck confirmed. It is a real thing. Everything I feel when I'm against this deck, I have felt the opposite when I'm playing this deck. A 4-1 result is our reward for joining the dark side for the day. And it's undeniable the power and resilience of this deck. The sideboard plan is really interesting. Not knowing to full juke or partial juke. I think identifying what your opponent specifically is doing to beat you is important. Like identifying that Delver doesn't have any permanence and I can just hit them with a bunch of discard spells and still execute my main plan worked out extremely well compared to trying to play mid-range Black Stompy against them. The Serenity was a no-brainer against 8 cast. There's a lot of nuance here where playing this deck more would benefit you more, which seems like an obvious statement, but anyone who thinks that Reanimator is like brainless, just mulligan right and you'll win, or whatever, like look at your opening 7, do you win or lose? It's not that. It's really not. And then knowing when to take a risk of my hand can cast 2 discard spells and entomb, but I don't have a reanimate. Like, is that going to hold up? Is that a math equation that's favorable for you? And I don't know all the answers, but it did work out 4 times for me in this league. And the deck did deliver when I needed it to. There's really only 3 things in this deck. Disruption, monsters, and put monsters into play cards. And you're drawing to one of those things in most games. And one thing that I have felt from the other side, but it feels different on this side, and I can articulate it or understand it better, is the hands that you can resolve an entomb on turn 1 or faithless looting, and then if you have reanimate and exhume in your hand, that's basically like having a discard spell because they have to use a counterspell on the first thing, and then you resolve the second. So reanimate, when your hand also contains exhume, is kind of like more copies of Thoughtseize in the deck, except the upside, if it just resolves, is the game is over. Absolutely relentless, and it's part of the metagame. I make fun of it a lot, and I always say it ruins my leagues, or I'm just trying to have fun and whatever, but this deck is powerful and needs to be respected. It's not brainless. There's a lot of decisions to be made. I'm sure I made a lot of them incorrectly in this league. Win or lose, doesn't matter. I probably could have sequenced things or mulligan things differently, but the deck carried me. Thank you, Nerds Cafe, for sponsoring this video. Everybody check out their tournament series if you are geographically appropriate. Check out their website if you're not geographically appropriate. Code BoshNRoll10 will get you a discount. And everybody, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you for the next one.